The first month of Trump's second term has been a whirlwind of executive action, surpassing the pace set by any recent president. Over 100 executive actions and a flurry of executive orders have rapidly reshaped the political landscape. The sheer volume of these orders, often issued with little warning or debate, has left many reeling and struggling to keep up. This breakneck speed raises concerns about due diligence and transparency, fueling anxieties about the direction of the country. The swiftness of these actions underscores a sense of urgency and a determination to dismantle the policies of the previous administration. Trump's supporters applaud his decisive action, praising his commitment to fulfilling campaign promises. They view this flurry of activity as a sign of strength and a refreshing change from the perceived inaction of previous years. Critics, however, express alarm at the lack of careful consideration and potential for unintended consequences. The use of executive orders, often bypassing congressional approval, has ignited a debate about the balance of power. Opponents argue that this approach undermines democratic processes and concentrates too much authority in the executive branch. They point to the potential for abuse and the erosion of checks and balances that are fundamental to a functioning democracy. This debate underscores the deep divisions already present in American society, further fueled by the rapid pace of change. Trump's executive actions have sent shockwaves through various aspects of American life, particularly in the areas of social policy. The reinstatement of policies restricting international abortion funding has sparked outrage among reproductive rights advocates. They view this move as an attack on women's health and autonomy, particularly in developing nations where access to safe abortion is often limited. Protests have erupted across the country, with women's rights groups vowing to fight these policies in court. Further fueling social anxieties, Trump's assertion of a binary view of gender has drawn condemnation from LGBTQ plus communities and their allies. Critics view this as a direct assault on transgender rights, particularly the recognition and protection of gender identity. The administration's stance has created confusion and fear among transgender individuals, particularly youth, and raised concerns about potential discrimination in healthcare, education, and other areas. Immigration has once again become a flashpoint, with reports of increased raids spreading fear throughout immigrant communities. Families, particularly those with undocumented members, are living in a state of constant anxiety, unsure of what the next day may bring. The administration argues that these measures are necessary to enforce immigration laws and protect national security. However, opponents view them as cruel and inhumane, tearing families apart and disproportionately targeting vulnerable populations. On the international stage, Trump's foreign policy moves have raised eyebrows and sparked concern among allies and adversaries alike. His threats of expansion into Panama and expressions of interest in Greenland have evoked memories of his earlier warnings to Russia and China about territorial seizures. These pronouncements have been met with bewilderment and condemnation, with many questioning the stability and predictability of American foreign policy. The ongoing war in Ukraine presents another foreign policy challenge. While some call for the U.S. to facilitate a swift end to the conflict, others advocate for continued support for Ukraine and a tough stance against Russia. The situation in Taiwan remains equally fraught, with concerns about China's growing assertiveness in the region. Trump's approach to these complex geopolitical issues remains unclear, characterized by seemingly contradictory statements and a lack of a cohesive strategy. Domestically, Trump's policies have exacerbated existing divisions, creating a climate of uncertainty and discontent. His decision to pardon individuals involved in the January 6th Capitol riot has been met with widespread condemnation, with critics accusing him of condoning violence and undermining the rule of law. These pardons, seen by many as a betrayal of justice, have deepened the sense of disillusionment and anger among those who believe that accountability is essential for healing the nation's wounds. The national mood in the wake of Trump's first month back in office can best be described as one of profound polarization. His supporters remain steadfast in their approval, praising his decisive actions and unwavering commitment to his agenda. They view his presidency as much-needed corrective, a return to strength, and a rejection of what they perceive as weakness and appeasement. Conversely, Trump's critics are more apprehensive and vocal than ever. They view his policies as harmful and divisive, a threat to democratic institutions and the fabric of American society. Resistance movements are gaining momentum, vowing to challenge his agenda through protests, legal action, and grassroots organizing. This stark divide in public opinion reflects a nation grappling with fundamental questions about its identity, values, and future direction. Amid this turmoil, calls for congressional action are growing louder. Many believe that Congress must assert its constitutional authority and act as a check on the executive branch. This includes conducting rigorous oversight, challenging executive orders, and using legislative power to mitigate the impact of what they consider to be harmful policies. However, with a deeply divided Congress, the path forward remains uncertain. One thing is clear: America in 2025 is a nation on edge, grappling with deep divisions and facing an uncertain future. For more news updates, kindly hit the subscribe and like. Share your thoughts in the comments section below.